Grace and peace, you guys. April Chapman here with the Standard of Truth podcast, where we discuss all things social, cultural, political, and theological from a biblical perspective. Today is a political commentary video. I don't know about you, but last night was the third GOP debate. And to be quite honest, I wasn't really looking forward to this debate because the second debate was pure trash. It was too many people on the stage. You really couldn't understand what anybody was saying. They weren't presenting any new information. It just wasn't a good debate. However, I wanted to give the candidates an opportunity to say, okay, let's at least listen to what they have to say. And what I noticed is that they shrank the amount of candidates that were on the stage. I still think there were too many people on their stage. I don't think that there was any reason for Tim Scott or former Governor Chris Christie to be up there. However, they were up there. But this video, you guys, this video is about the rising GOP superstar, Vivek Ramaswamy. I've covered candidate Ramaswamy in previous videos. I've discussed the fact about him being a Hindu and running for the presidency, and Bible-believing Christians' view or what position or opinion they should have about that. But today, listen, when I tell you that Vivek Ramaswamy was the superstar of last night's debate, he was the superstar of last night's debate. What I'm going to do is I'm going to react to his top 5 moments. He had some serious mic drop moments, but these are his top 5 mic drop moments from last night's debate. So go ahead and take a listen.
The Trump-Russia collusion hoax that you pushed on this network for years, was that real, or was that Hillary Clinton made up disinformation? Answer the question. Go. I say this as a member of my generation. I'm 38 years old. I'm the youngest person ever to run for U.S. president as a Republican. The reason my generation has lost our sense of national pride, in part, is because people in my generation feel like the American dream isn't available to them. And part of the reason why is we burdened them with 4-year college degrees that did not serve their head start on the American dream. People will be more proud of a country if we're all making more money in that country. This is how we revive national pride and our identity, and it will take a CEO in the White House with zero-based budgeting, by the way, to take on the federal debt.
Facts. Okay, so mic drop moment number 1 is actually not number 1. It's actually going in reverse order, but Vivek Ramaswamy said something that so many Americans can identify with. Whether you are on the right or the left, you are hard-pressed to deny the fact that the American dream seems completely unattainable to you. Why? Because you were told to go to college and get a degree, and when you come out, you're going to get a high-paying job, and you're going to be able to buy a house. None of those things are a reality now. These 4-year college degrees are overpriced, and they're not even worth the ink or the paper that they are printed on. For so many Americans, they are struggling with even recognizing, they're unable to even identify what the American dream is. If you are a millennial or below, you are really struggling to grab your piece of the American dream because you're saddled in so much student loan debt, right? And then the types of degrees that we were encouraged to go and get, it's almost like nobody had the conversation and say, you know what, this sociology degree, it's not really going to pay you any sort of return or investment. Or this gender studies degree, like nobody is busting down the top 4-year colleges in this country to recruit you to work in their organization because you studied in gender studies. And so I understand what he means by the fact of this lack of national pride. No one can be happy or proud of a country where you feel like you were just overburdened with things that you know your predecessors were not with. College is not affordable, and so many people are looking at alternatives in order to provide for themselves, because the pathway to college or university, with the outcome being a job that pays a livable wage, that doesn't exist anymore. So I agree with what he said as it relates to the fact that the American dream is unattainable. Everybody is saddled with college debt, and therefore they feel like they've been lied to. And so what it's doing is it's stoking the flames of resentment, and people are angry. People are angry and people are pissed off because they're like, there is no such thing as an American dream. It's a lie. And so I believe Vivek Ramaswamy understands that, because he is what do they call him? A geriatric millennial. And so he can speak to those in the millennial generation on down, and people's interest in him will perk up, because they're like, you know what? That's a fact. Like, we just need to say and speak the truth. And so that was his number 5 mic drop moment.
Swami, thank you.
Let me turn it. I want to be careful to avoid making the mistakes from the neocon establishment of the past. Corrupt politicians in both parties spent trillions, killed millions, made billions for themselves in places like Iraq and Afghanistan, fighting wars that sent thousands of our sons and daughters, people my age, to die in wars that did not advance anyone's interests, adding $7 trillion.
So I actually agree with what he said in terms of all of the wars since 2001 on forward. We've been fighting in these wars, and they haven't advanced America's interests. However, they have advanced the interests of the elite, whether it's the elite Democrats or the elite Republicans, those who had government contracts, who make lots of money from being and fighting in endless wars. I thought it was brilliant that a GOP candidate would point that out and say the quiet part out loud. We've got Nikki Haley sitting right there. She's making a lot of money and has interest in us being involved in a lot of these senseless wars. I thought it was an amazing strategy for him to highlight the foolishness on both the right as well as the left. And Vivek is a candidate that does that very, very well. He doesn't have a problem identifying when there's foolishness on both sides. And I think that's why he is such a threat. And that's one reason why Nikki Haley doesn't like him very much, because he's willing to call out the hypocrisy on the side, that the ticket that he's running on. And he understands that America has gotten into this mess. It isn't just the left. The left isn't solely responsible for getting us into this mess. It's been greed, power and greed. Money hungry elites have put us into the situation that we're in. And I thought it was amazing that he brought that up.
Dollars to our national debt. And Joe Biden sold off our foreign policy. Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, got a $5 million bribe from Ukraine. That's why we're sending $200 billion back to that same country.
Facts. We needed someone to say that and say it out loud with power and conviction. And Vivek Ramaswamy did that. The left and the mainstream media, or the fake stream media, as I like to call them, they don't want anybody talking about the money that Hunter Biden filtered through to his father with this whole Ukrainian bribe. But it needs to be discussed, because there's a reason why we're over there fighting now, and it has more to do with palms being greased than it has any. This war does not concern us at all. And I'm so glad that he brought up the fact that all of our foreign policy and our trade secrets and our weaponry is being used to advance other people's causes and not the American cause.
The fact of the matter is, the Republican Party is not that much better. You have the likes of Nikki Haley, who stepped down from her time at the UN. Bankrupt or in debt was her family. Then she becomes a military contractor. She joins the board of Boeing and otherwise, and is now a multimillionaire. So I think that that's wrong when Republicans do it or Democrats do it. That's the choice we face. Do you want a leader from a different generation who's going to put this country first? Or do you want Dick Cheney in 3-inch heels?
Listen, when he said, do you want Dick Cheney in 3-inch heels, I about hollered. Because at the end of the day, he is right. These elites, these GOP establishments, I don't want to go as far as call her a rhino, but politics is a way for people to make a whole lot of money and to shelter and hide under the guise of, advancing the American cause. But what they're really doing is they're lining their own pockets. And how is it that as a U.S. ambassador, you're broke and in debt, and then all of a sudden you have these interests in these government contracts, and now you're sitting pretty making a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, I'm a capitalist. So if you have to pivot and move and do something different in order to secure your own financial future, I'm all for that. But don't do it at the expense of the American people and then claim that you are a pro-American first politician, because that's not true and that's not who you really are. But I like the fact that Vivek Ramaswamy can talk about the issues, but he's got just this gutter grit and grime about him where he can kind of hit just right below the belt in a respectful way, but that he does it in such a way that we're like, okay, this man has got spunk, chutzpah, charisma, he's a little humorous, and he's super smart and he knows what he's talking about. That's what I like most about this mic drop moment number 4.
All right, Mr.
In which case, we've got 2 of them on stage tonight.
Weigh in on this,
Sure.
ways that you can improve people's financial condition in the short term.
Right, and as a CEO, the economic question is core to my vision and policy prescription for this country. Increase the supply of everything. It's the law of supplies and demand. Increase the supply of energy. That brings down the cost of energy, grows the economy. Drill, frack, burn coal, embrace nuclear. Increase the supply of labor in this country. Stop using our taxpayer money to pay people more to stay at home instead of to go to work. Increase the supply of housing. People don't talk about this one in the Republican Party. The land use restrictions are constricting the supply of housing. That's making housing more expensive for ordinary Americans across this country. So that's the true answer. And I think it takes a CEO in the White House who actually understands this to get this done. Because Americans at home, they know the Bidenomics is a lie. Prices are going up. Interest rates and mortgages to buy your home are going up. But wages have remained flat.
Facts. There was so much truth in this mic drop moment number 3 that Vivek Ramaswamy pointed out. The fact remains is that I actually do believe that CEOs make great politicians, because if you've run an organization and you've taken an organization, whether it's a startup or you bought a company and you were able to make it grow and flourish, you have a very tangible, viable skill set that is transferable into the political sphere. This is one reason why Donald Trump was so successful as it relates to our economics, and why so many of us had more bread in our pocket then than we do now. The truth of the matter is CEOs are amazing leaders. They understand economics. They understand profitability. They understand his whole zero-based budget idea is friggin' brilliant. We don't need a career politician in office to get us back to a level of where our debt is down and inflation is down, and we need a business owner or someone who has run a corporation successfully in this office. I believe, I'm not saying that's the only kind of person that would be successful, but that is a skill set that when you have a nation like ours that is currently in a financial crisis, it's going to need someone that truly understands economics to get us out of that crisis. I don't know about y'all, but these darn mortgage rates are out of control. Literally a couple of years ago, the house I'm in right now, at a 2 or 3% interest rate, like I almost can't afford the house that I'm in right now if I were to try to buy it outright with today's interest rates. And then it's not just that, but it's the price of homes. Atlanta, Georgia used to be the place where you could come and literally buy a mansion. 300, 400 at the top end. You could walk out with a 5 or 6 bedroom house, a little bit of land, and just come and start your life. Now, my family, it's 6 of us, right? And then I have my mother living with us. In order for me right now to try to afford a 5 or 6 bedroom home, you're looking at $600,000, $700,000, $800,000, and you still don't even get a lot of land. The average American cannot afford an $800,000 house on even the average American salary. It is unsustainable. I never thought that I would see the day where you wouldn't be able to afford rent. A 1-bedroom apartment, the going rate starting for a 1-bedroom apartment is ridiculous. Interest rates are out of control. The land use issue that he brought up, especially in California, the restrictions on being able to build and develop are so restrictive, right? That contractors don't even want to do business in California. We need to unleash this economy. And one way to do it is becoming energy dominant. So I completely agree with what Vivek Ramaswamy presents here. And what's interesting to me is that out of all the candidates, he actually has a plan. And he can, in a winsome fashion, articulate what his plan is on how he intends to achieve the goals that need to be achieved. And he has a plan and a method to solving the problems that affect so many of us today.
That's the hard diagnosis for our economy. We've talked a lot about foreign wars tonight, but we're in the middle of a war right here at home. It's a war not between black and white or Democrat and Republican. It's between those of us who believe in our founding ideals and love this country and a fringe minority who hates the United States of America. And I think it's going to take a commander-in-chief to lead us to victory in that war, who first of all knows that we're in a war. Second of all, can't be captured by the special interests along the way. But third is from the next generation, somebody with fresh legs to lead us to victory. I'll shut down the deep state. I'll declare economic independence from China. I'll keep us out of World War III, and then revive national pride in this country. I also want to close with one message to the Democrat Party. End this farce that Joe Biden is going to be your nominee. We know he's not even the president of the United States. He's a puppet for the managerial class. So have the guts to step up and be honest about who you're actually going to put up so we can have an honest debate. Biden should step aside, end his candidacy now, so we can see whether it's Newsom or Michelle Obama or whoever else.
All right,
just
Mr.
tell us the truth so we can have an honest debate.
Oh, my word. Oh, my word. First of all, I can't believe he actually said it, but I was also glad that he did. Here are the facts. Everybody with a thinking, functioning brain knows that Biden is not going to be the nominee. The Democrats, now, they're not that smart, but they are really not that dumb to run him again. And they're playing this get along game, dragging the nation along to lead everybody to think that Joe Biden is going to be their nominee. So the fact that Vivek Ramaswamy looked in that camera and said, listen, let's just stop playing the game. Tell us who your nominee is so that we can have debates on the issues. We don't have time for this bait and switch. Let us know if it's going to be Gavin Newsom or Michelle Obama or whoever else, because we know that Biden is not running the country. So whoever is running the country either needs to come from behind the curtain and show us who you are, or tell us which candidate you're actually going to run against the Republican nominee. Because at the end of the day, Democrats know they are going to have to cheat in order for whoever, all of their candidates suck. Their policies suck, right? And Joe Biden is not going to win. Nobody, not even Democrats, want Joe Biden to win. So I was so glad to hear him just call it out for what it was and to say what needed to be said. I also like the fact that he mentioned that the managerial class needs to step aside, right? I mean, that entire mic drop moment, number 2, no other candidate speaks this way. No other candidate is speaking with the level of vigor and conviction and passion like a Vivek Ramaswamy does. And I agree. We probably do need someone from the next generation. Now, I'm Generation X, right? And so is Ron DeSantis. And truth be told, I don't even have major issues with Ron DeSantis as a leader. He has done amazing things for the state of Florida, and I think he's a results-driven type politician. He gets things done. So if he were the nominee, I would be like, we're good, I'm fine. I really wouldn't have any complaints over that. However, there is something amazing and infectious and different about Vivek Ramaswamy, and it's why I believe if Trump weren't in the ring, that would be my number one pick of choice. Actually, right now, even with Trump in the ring, I'm going to just be honest. I like Vivek Ramaswamy. He is a leader that energizes young people. He energizes old people. He speaks to the issues, and he doesn't play this identity politics game. He recognizes that all of this ethnicity and our differences, it is irrelevant because we're all suffering under the same oppressive leftist regime, and we need our American identity back. Right? And so I like the fact that he doesn't focus on, here's what I'm going to do for the Black community. Here's what I'm going to do for the Asian community. And then this what I'm going to do for the Jews. He doesn't play that game. He recognizes that if you are a citizen of this country, you are an American. And therefore, my policies are so good that all of us are going to benefit, because I'm going to put some money back in y'all's pocket, and I'm going to invigorate national identity again. That's what it's all about, because we're all Americans. It's not I'm a Black American, I'm a white American, I'm an Indian American. I'm so done with the colorism foolishness. That is one reason why I actually like what Vivek Ramaswamy is saying here. Let's continue.
I think there's something deeper going on in the Republican Party here, and I am upset about what happened last night. We've become a party of losers at the end of the day. It was a cancer to the Republican.
Where is the lie? Where is the lie? Listen, you guys, I'm a conservative, okay? Which means 99.99999% of the time, I am going to cast my vote for a Republican. But guess what? We are a party of losers. We refuse to pivot. We refuse to just course correct and I hate to use one of the leftist terms, reimagine how we do politics. We have the best policies on the planet, but we don't really lead with those policies, and we don't know how to translate and communicate those policies to a generation that doesn't even know what it means to be a conservative. We don't do a good job of selling Republican or conservative ideas. We don't at all. And so as a result, we keep losing. And y'all, he's about to make a statement right here that I was like, listen, you ain't trying to make friends in the GOP. At least you ain't gonna be able to make them this way. But what he said needed to be said, and I'm so glad he said it. Take a listen.
Establishment. Let's speak the truth. I mean, since Ronna McDaniel took over as chairwoman of the RNC in 2017, we have lost 2018, 2020, 2022, no red wave that never came. We got trounced last night in 2023. And I think that we have to have accountability in our party. For that matter, Ron, if you want to come on stage tonight, you want to look the GOP voters in the eye and tell them you resign, I will yield my time to you. And frankly, look, the people there cheering for losing in the Republican Party. Think about who's moderating this debate. This should be Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, and Elon Musk. We'd have 10 times the viewership, asking questions that GOP primary voters actually care about and bringing more people into our party.
Listen, Vivek, you weren't supposed to say that, but I'm so glad that you did. Listen, no shade. If a person keeps doing the same thing over and over again, and you keep getting the same results, at some point you got to be like, okay, this strategy is not working. We need to do something different. And there's nothing wrong with criticizing your own side. I am so glad he brought that smoke for Ronna McDaniel, because we are a party of losers because these people don't know what they are doing. They just don't. I am tired and I am frustrated with the trajectory the GOP is going, because it's led by people who want to do the same thing. They want to do politics 1.0 when we right here, we're doing like politics 3.0. Like we are 2 steps ahead and they're still back there. I get it. She knows how to raise money. But outside of that, she's not results driven. We're not getting the results that we should, despite the fact that we have better policies. And I like the fact that Vivek is not afraid to call out his side. We need to be able to speak the truth unashamedly and call people to the carpet and hold people accountable. Like, we needed to hear that. And I'm so glad he said it. And then the other point that he said, why is the GOP debate being hosted on NBC? Like, who authorized that? He's right. Why wasn't Tucker Carlson, Elon Musk, or Joe Rogan the one handling and moderating that debate? Why? We needed that because we need to talk about actual issues, and we need people who are not going to be afraid to ask the harsh questions and to challenge the status quo. This is why we need new blood. This would bring in so many people into the GOP if they just changed their paradigm, shifted a little, and came to the 21st century. I think that would have been an amazing. First of all, we would have had way more people watching that debate if Tucker and Elon and Joe Rogan, like, he's right. The Democrats would never tag Greg Gutfeld to moderate their debate. So why the heck is NBC moderating ours? Like, who authorized that? Oh my gosh, that was just stupid. And this lets me know that I'm not the only one. When I can see that GOP leadership from the top on down, we need some fresh legs and we need some new people who understand the issues that are actually impacting Americans. People are feeling the pinch at the grocery store. They're feeling the pinch at the pump. Inflation is out of control. These interest rates are crazy. And how about the reason why, this is what I wanted to say. NBC is hosting this debate. And if you watch the debate, 90% of the questions were about geopolitical politics. Didn't nobody really want to talk about the border. They don't want to talk about the issues that are actually affecting us. And so they spent all their time talking about China and Israel and Ukraine. And I'm sitting over here like, y'all not going to ask some questions about what we going to do with this border? Like, because they don't want to talk about the border. They don't want to talk about how the border is impacting inner cities. Nobody wanted to talk about the crime. Actually, we don't even have a crime problem. We have a prosecution problem that therefore is causing the crime problem. Nobody talked about that. Nobody is talking about these liberal judges that keep getting appointed that wants to open up the prisons and let everybody out and doesn't want to prosecute harsh crimes. Those are things that we should have discussed because people whether you live in the inner city or in the suburbs, we all are feeling the surge in the crime. And that is something that needed to be discussed. So at the end of the day, I'm going to wrap it up. I want to hear from you. What did you think about those top 5 mic drop moments from Vivek Ramaswamy? Do you believe that despite his age at 38 years old, that he actually has what it takes to lead? Because listen, he is no punk. The way he was shooting off at the mouth about Xi Jinping and what he plans to do if he's in office, and I love how he's going to get rid of the deep state and get rid of all of these government agencies that don't work and clean house. Do you believe that it's going to take drastic measures like that in order to get different results? Or if you're like, I don't know, like, I just want to stick with what's safe and I just want to stick with the status quo. I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts? Regardless of what you think, drop me a comment below and let me know. And don't forget, I need you to like this video, comment, share, and most of all, subscribe. Grace and peace.